Wearable gadgets are growing in popularity as fashion and function both continue to improve. Well, now some companies are seeking new uses for these technologies. One of the most popular wearable devices out there is the Fitbit. That's one that allows users to track various fitness metrics, including movement and sleep. Now, big pharma companies think they can benefit from Fitbits by tracking their patients. The idea is that getting precise data about those using their drugs will help scientists understand why a drug does or does not work. Other companies are also gathering this sort of information in an effort to make more money and deliver better products to their consumers, and possibly to make employees more productive. A Deloitte office in St. John's, Newfoundland, gave willing employees an ID badge with a built-in microphone. The microphones were used to measure the tones in workers' voices and how often they contributed in meetings. Meanwhile, accelerometers tracked body language and where they spent most of their day. Deloitte's stated motivation for tracking its employees is rather benign. They say they wanted to see how a new office layout was working, but there are growing concerns that companies will use exactly this sort of employee tracking technology to squeeze even more out of their workforce. Time for the digital divide. Leonard Brody is a tech entrepreneur and venture capitalist. Mark Nunikoven, Vice President of Cloud Research at Trend Micro. Great to see both of you.
Thanks for having us.
So, Leonard, let's start with the kind of benign uses of this. Obviously, we are now living in a world of big data. The Internet of Things means information and how it gets managed is the new frontier. All of this seems good. Do you think that we are rushing too fast towards it, or taking sort of the appropriate caution when a pharmaceutical company wants you to wear a Fitbit to track your data? Is it just the right thing to hand over that data?
Well, I think you have to remember, first of all, nobody has to hand over that data. They're always going to have a choice. There's going to be the ability and incentives to give that data to the company. If you're behaving well and the behaviors are the way that the company wants you to go for those financial incentives, you'll do it. If not, there's going to be implications, but you're always going to have the choice. So I think in the end, for many people, it's going to be very helpful from an insurance perspective, rewarding the behaviors that they actually want to insure, both for the person actually receiving it and the company. For healthcare, I think it's a little bit different, and those implications are very different.
So, well, Mark, let's bring you in. Do you agree that it's as voluntary as Leonard is describing? Because I could see a situation where, obviously they can't they can't force you to wear a Fitbit, but maybe you get a big enough discount on your drug. Maybe there's just sort of moral suasion, and you're kind of in a vulnerable position with some of these companies. Is it true that we can really protect ourselves ultimately if we want to?
Well, I think the answer is that for now it's true, you could opt out, but I can see very easily how this can go down in the darker path. Now, that might be a little harder here in Canada where we have good universal health care, but in somewhere in the States where it's very insurance and very corporate driven, that might be a completely different equation.
Okay, so then let's talk about this whole notion of how businesses are using information about employees. This was a voluntary exercise, and obviously their stated mission, Leonard, was to see, how people were moving through the space. But we've seen all kinds of new tools where a boss can track how long you're on your computer. They can track how long you stop to talk to other people. All of which you could see as being very useful in terms of kind of trying to really measure and fine-tune productivity, but which also feels super Orwellian.
Yeah, I also am not sure what the data is. I mean, the problem with all of this is you can data collection is one thing. Getting that information, making sure it's accurate, all important. The question is, what do you do with it? I mean, even if you have the ability, even if your employees are volunteering to do it, I'm not so sure that we're at the stage yet that people really understand what a badge card and somebody moving back and forth really actually means. So I think we're in the era where collection is easy, privacy is going to be a problem. The question is, what do you really do with it and what does it mean?
I think that's a really good question. Let's talk about what some people might be doing. Mark, I mean, obviously collection is easier than interpretation, and that's kind of the next step. We've seen some early roads into this that workers do find intrusive and unfair, including, the first was the delivery industry tracking sort of seconds per package kind of thing, which on the one hand, it's a great way to measure productivity. On the other hand, it literally strained workers physically trying to keep up with those metrics. How do we make sure that we're the ones in control of how this stuff gets used and analyzed?
Yeah, and that's a great question. And when you're talking about it from a personal perspective, it's a lot simpler. I can choose whether or not to wear a Fitbit and whether or not to use that data to my advantage. When we're talking about corporations and employment, we've seen this road, we see it in dystopian sci-fi all the time, and unfortunately we're very close to that type of thing. So your example about tracking packages or large warehousing industries, things like that, that can have some really real world impacts, and that's really negative, and I don't see a way for a worker who needs that job, who needs that minimum wage job, to fight back.
Leonard, do you know of any organizations that are doing a good job with this, that seem as though they're, in whatever early stage we're at, kind of going down the right path of analytics around making our lives better?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're separate between corporations and then the medical sphere. In the corporate sphere, you have lots of companies that I think are doing a good job of making it opt-in for the employees to sort of treat it as almost, I don't want to call it self-help, but reward and making their lives a bit better, trying to help them in understanding what they're good at, what their strengths are and their weaknesses. And there's companies like Google and Facebook do that all the time, as you would imagine they would do, but it is pretty opt-in and it's marketed less as efficiency and more as self-help. On the medical side, the thing I think we need to think really carefully about is what Apple's doing with Research Kit. So they are a great example of how they're taking that whole research methodology, putting it on your iPhone, and in fact making the process of gathering data both for research and for care incredibly easy. Stanford, which just did their cardiology program with them, had the most volunteers for any program ever that they had researchers required in the 24-hour period than they had ever had in their entire history.
So obviously there's some amazing things that will come out of this, probably also some sinister things. I mean, Mark, Leonard mentioned the insurance industry. There are obvious advantages to rewarding good behavior and, actually sort of trying to calibrate the people that need the insurance with the people that get the insurance. That actually also has the power to undo a business model if it's taken to its extreme. So, we start down these roads and it's kind of interesting to say, it works this far, but any further, and insurance kind of loses its meaning if you need it and I don't.
Yeah, and I think that's a valid point, but I think, as much as we can think of negative uses of this, I think Leonard brought up some really good examples there with Apple and Research Kit and with Stanford, and there's also been work around diabetes, around Parkinson's, and this is a really great opportunity for scientists to gather data on a scale and with an accuracy that we've never seen before. So as much as there's a bad side, there's a very big upside to these technologies as well.
And it's no different. It's no different than any other. I mean, technological advancement always suffers the same fear curve, right? We suffered the same. You could go through history and look at from the automobile to the invention of the sofa bed to just looking at credit cards with e-commerce. There's always that fear of the outer sphere of what's acceptable, but we always seem to manage to settle into acceptability and either regulate or naturally regulate our way to it.
All right, there's one other piece of this that goes beyond the two examples that we offered up, but that when we talk about kind of data collection and then interpreting it for use, social media is one place that a lot of people are exploring, especially businesses, how to kind of harness the collective knowledge of your peers, of what they think about your job. Leonard, I got to tell you that increasingly as we see kind of this mob mentality of weighing in on whether somebody's done something wrong, and we've seen people, fired because sort of the internet got excited about something they'd done. Is there a danger in that, in kind of empowering your peers to judge you?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. The question is, what are you using as the evidence? If you're using that, it's not about the judgment of your peers, it's the people who are actually doing the judging based on what they see. So if the organization is sophisticated enough to understand that and to understand what they're looking at, I don't think there's anything wrong with peer-powered approaches to looking at discipline or looking at how people interact in their environments. And frankly, look, a good public firing every now and then, not so bad.
All right, we got to leave it there. That's the digital divide. Leonard Brody, Mark Nunikoven, thanks to you both.
Thanks.
Thank you.